As he sang, and rapture stole through earth-time and caught the heavens, came with a call of hooves, as of her swift heart hastening, Savitri. Her radiant tread glimmered across the floor. She stood before her mighty father's throne. He flung on her his vast, immortal look. His inner gaze surrounded her with its light.
First 4 pages of this canto in which was described Narad's descent into this earthly world from his heaven. He's the intermediary between the heavens and earth. And he's come down to visit King Aswapati and the queen. And as he was there, Savitri approached. She has discharged the mission of her heart to go out into the wilds to seek her mate, whom she has found in Satyavan. And there, in the wilderness near the hermitage where he lived, they were married. And now she's come back to the palace to tell her parents of her marriage and that she would be going back to the hermitage to live with her husband, Satyavan. And Narad is there as she approaches, and he looks upon her and speaks of her beauty. In this section that we're reading right now, there's some very beautiful poetry. We don't yet get into the depths of philosophy of fate, but it's Sri Aurobindo gives us a leisurely introduction to it, describing Savitri both in the words of Narad and in the words of King Aswapati. So what we were reading last time was just Narad, the arrival of Savitri. So Narad asks Savitri as she approaches, from what green glimmer of glades, retreating into dewy silences, or half-seen verge of waters, moon betrayed, bringest thou this glory of enchanted eyes? So he's describing this glow that Savitri carries with her. So we continue then from near the top of page 419, third line down. Margaret, would you like to begin?
And Savitri, yeah?
419, third line down.
Oh.
Third line from the top.
And all these are mysterious presences, in which some spirit's immortal bliss is felt, and they betray the earthborn heart to joy. There hast thou paused, and marveling born eyes unknown, or heard a voice that forced thy life to strain its rapture through thy listening soul. Or, if my thought could touch this shimmering gaze, it would say, thou hast not drunk from an earthly cup, but stepping through azure curtains of the noon, thou wast surrounded on a magic verge in brighter countries than men's eyes can bear. Assailed by trooping voices of delight, and seized mid a sunlit glamour of the boughs, in fairy woods let down the gleaming slopes of Gandhamadan, where the Apsaras roam. Thy limbs have shared the sports which none has seen, and in God haunts thy human footsteps strayed, thy mortal bosom quivered with God's speech, and thy soul answered to a word unknown.
Thank you. Let's pause there. So Narad has been describing Savitri and comparing her to the beauty of the woods. And he says that these are mysterious presences in which some spirit's immortal bliss is felt, and they betray the earthborn heart to joy. He says, there hast thou paused, and marveling, born eyes unknown, or heard a voice that forced thy life to strain its rapture through thy listening soul. So Narad has this omniscient view of things. He senses, knows that Savitri has seen some wonderful eyes, that she has paused there, has heard a voice that filled her life with some magic, straining its rapture as she listened. And then he says that if he could trust this shimmering gaze, this beauty that he sees coming to her in the face and form of Savitri, it would say, thou hast not drunk from an earthly cup, but stepping through azure curtains of the noon, thou wast surrounded on a magic verge in brighter countries than man's eyes can bear. He suggests that perhaps she has come from some brighter realm of existence beyond earth. She has at least carries something of that atmosphere with her. And then he describes that in fairy woods, led down the gleaming slopes of Gandhamadan, where the Apsaras roam, thy limbs have shared the sports which none has seen, and in God haunts thy human footsteps strayed. So he suggests perhaps she's visited this realm of the Apsaras, Gandhamadan. This is the mountain of the Gandharvas, the mythical musicians and poets and dancers and singers of the subtle realms. who inspire our music and art and poetry. And these apsaras are the heavenly dancers of this realm. So he suggests perhaps she's seen them, encountered these beings, mythological beings of this subtle realm, these dancers on the hillsides of this mountain, and have shared in their sports. Shared the sports. Yeah, I think that they're shared in their dances. She has participated. It seems as if she's participated in the dances of the apsaras. And he suggests that thy mortal bosom quivered with God's speech, and thy soul answered to a word unknown. That she herself has spoken with these greater beings, and that her soul answered to some greater word from the divine. Yeah, this word betray here is not with the negative kind of connotation that we sometimes attach to it, but that they reveal something of the earthborn heart. They reveal the joy to the earthborn heart. So these mysterious presences, these kind of magical movements of the nature that he was describing and comparing to Savitri, the ripple passion of the upgazing stream, amid cool-lipped murmurs of its pure embrace, they lose their souls on beds of trembling reeds. So all of this beautiful nature, kind of magical in its atmosphere, these things betray something of the spirit's immortal bliss. They reveal something of that. And he suggests there thou paused in the midst of that magic and beauty and divine presence. So he has seen something of what Savitri has encountered when she met Satyavan. And he's describing that in these kind of beautiful, hidden ways, as if he doesn't really know, but he does see these things. So he keeps asking about it. So we continue. Would you like to read?
What feed of gods, what ravishing plot of even have thrilled high melody round from near and far. Approaching through the soft and reveling air, which still surprise thou hearest. They have fed the silence on some red strange executive fruit, and thou hast trod the dim moon, peak of bliss, reveal, O winged with light, whence thou hast flown, hasting bright footed through the green triangle earth, the body
rhythmical
with spring birds call. The empty roses of thy hands are filled only with their own beauty and the thrill of a remember clasps and in the glow. An evenly jar thy prim deep honeyed heart, new brimming with sweet and nectar wine. Thou hast not spoken with the keys of pen. Life perilous music rings yet to the ear, fair melody, rapid and grand a chanter song, or soft as water rushing meet the hills, or mighty as a great chant of many winds. Moon bright thou leap in thy inner bliss. Thou comest like a silver deer through groves of crop flower and birds of glowing dream, or fleeced like a wind goddess through leaves. O promised, O ruby eyed and sono wings dove, flitting through thickest of thy pure desire, in the unwounded beauty of thy soul.
Thank you. I'll pause there. So we have more of Sri Aurobindo's beautiful poetry, very sensitive, delightful. He says, what feet of gods, what ravishing flutes of heaven have thrilled high melodies round from near and far, approaching through the soft and reveling air, which still surprised thou hearest. So he suggests that Savitri has heard these ravishing flutes, which suggests this flute of Krishna, this beautiful flute music that many devotees sometimes will hear coming, this kind of magical sound coming from afar, from near and far. We can't always tell if it's close to us or far away. It seems very mysterious, approaching through the soft and reveling air, which still surprise thou hearest, as if she's still hearing this wonderful music of this Krishna's flute. They have fed thy silence on some red, strange, ecstasied fruit, and thou hast trod the dim moon peaks of bliss. She's carrying this atmosphere of the divine, of Krishna with her, this mysterious, divine delight from the dim moon peaks of bliss. The moon is suggestive of the divine bliss. He says to her, "Reveal, O winged with light, whence thou hast flown, from where thou hast flown here, hastening bright-hued through the green tangled earth. Reveal where thou hast come from, thy body rhythmical with the spring bird's call." He says, "The empty roses of thy hands are filled only with their own beauty and the thrill of a remembered clasp." Her hands come, but they're empty, but remembering something of a clasp of someone else. And in thee glows a heavenly jar, so as if within her heart there's this heavenly jar, thy firm, deep-honeyed heart, new brimming with a sweet and nectarous wine. This wine also is a symbol of the divine Ananda. This nectar is the drink of the gods, which gives immortality. Wine also is symbolic of the divine delight. He says, "Thou hast not spoken with the kings of pain." He's saying, you have come with all this wonderful delight. But then he gives some little hints of danger. Life's perilous music rings yet to thy ear, far melodied, rapid and grand, a centaur's song, or soft as water plashing mid the hills, or mighty as a great chant of many winds. So this centaur is a mythological creature with the head of a man and the hind part of a horse, symbolizing strength united with the power of thought. And some of these centaurs were musicians, poets, singers. So he's referring to that aspect of the centaurs, as if this music that she carries with her, this perilous music with power and yet thought, rings yet in her ear. Or soft as water plashing mid the hills, or mighty as a great chant of many winds. Again, there's this softness there, but also this strength, this great chant of many winds. Yeah, I think he's beginning to just suggest in a very subtle way that she's carrying something, not only this soft delight, but also some power, some strength is coming also with her in her encounter. Of course, she has, a great battle and fight yet to come, but he's only just giving some slight hints that she's carrying something of that music, this combination of power and delight as she comes. And then he goes back to this more soft and beautiful aspect, this moon bright, thou livest in thy inner bliss. Thou comest like a silver deer through groves of coral flowers and buds of glowing dreams, or fleest like a wind goddess through the leaves, or roamest, a ruby-eyed and snow-winged dove, flitting through thickets of thy pure desires in the unwounded beauty of thy soul. In that perfect purity and beauty of her soul, she's coming. Okay, we'll continue. Sonia.
These things are only images to the earth, but truest truth of that which is in thy sleeps. For such is thy spirit, a sister of the gods, thy earthy body lovely to the eyes, and thou art kin in joy to heaven's sons. O thou who hast come into this great perilous world, now only seen through the splendor of thy dreams, where hardly love and beauty can live safe, thyself a being dangerously great, a soul alone in a golden house of thought, has lived walled in by the safety of thy dreams, on heights of happiness, leaving doom asleep, who hunts unseen the unconscious lives of men, in thy heart could live, locked in the ideal's gold, as high as happy might be thy waking be, for it for all time doom could left to sleep. He spoke, but held his knowledge back from words, as a cloud plays with lightning by vivid love, but still holds back the thunder in its heart. Only he let bright images escape. His speech, like glimmering music, veiled his thoughts, as wind flatters the bright summer air. Pitiful to mortals, only to them it spoke, of living beauty and present bliss. He hid in its all-knowing mind the rest.
Thank you. So he's suggesting they're not only images, they're also the deeper truth of what she carries within herself. Or then he says, for such is thy spirit, a sister of the gods, thy earthly body lovely to the eyes, and thou art kin in joy to heaven's Son. So she carries deep within her these heavenly attributes, this atmosphere. And then he says, O thou who hast come to this great perilous world, now only seen through the splendor of thy dreams, where hardly love and beauty can live safe. He's suggesting she has come into this dangerous world from above, from the heavens, and now she only sees this world through the splendor of her dreams. She only sees its kind of beautiful aspect. But he's suggesting here in this world, hardly love and beauty can live safe. At any moment they can be dashed by the realities of this physical world. And then he describes her, thyself a being dangerously great, a soul alone in a golden house of thought, has lived walled in by the safety of thy dreams. So he's suggesting that she's up until now been living in her inner being, in the safety of her dreams, still living, the delight and beauty of her inner being. And she hasn't yet confronted the hard realities of the world, its dangers. On heights of happiness she has lived, leaving doom asleep, who hunts unseen the unconscious lives of men. So this doom, this danger of death is always there, hunting the unconscious lives of men. He says, if thy heart could live locked in the ideal's gold, as high, as happy might thy waking be. If for all time doom could be left to sleep. So he's suggesting that perhaps not. Perhaps this doom will also confront her. So he spoke, but held his knowledge back from words. He foresees what will happen to Savitri, but he doesn't reveal all of that as yet. As a cloud plays with lightning's vivid laugh, but still holds back the thunder in its heart. Only he let bright images escape. It's only revealing some hints. His speech like glimmering music veiled his thoughts. As a wind flatters the bright summer air, pitiful to mortals, only to them it spoke of living beauty and of present bliss. He hid in his all-knowing mind the rest. He's holding back his foreknowledge of Savitri's fate. So we continue.
To those who hearkened to his celestial voice, the veiled heaven's pity throws on future pain, the immortal sanction seemed of endless joy. But Aswapati answered to the seer. His listening mind had marked the dubious close. An ominous shadow fell behind the words. But calm like one who ever sits facing fate, here meet the dangerous contours of earth's life, he answered covered thought with guarded speech. O deathless sage, who knowest all things here, if I could read by the ray of my own wish through the carved shield of symbol images, which thou hast thrown before thy heavenly mind, I might see the steps of a young godlike life, happily beginning, luminous-eyed on earth. Between the unknowable and the unseen, born on the borders of two wonder walls,
It flames out symbols of the infinite and lives in a great light of inner suns.
Thank you. Let's pause there. So the first lines again suggest that Narad is holding back something of his foreknowledge of what will come, of Savitri's fate. And it's very interesting the way Sri Aurobindo puts it. The veil heaven's pity throws on future pain, as if the divine puts a veil over the dangers and the difficulties and the pain of the future, so that we can live our lives without this fear of the future. And it makes me think also of Sri Aurobindo's own foreknowledge. Also, he must have, like Narad, had this foreknowledge of all that would come, and yet, he doesn't reveal all of the difficulties and dangers. He gives this message of great hope, of a divine life and beauty and bliss. But before we get there, what dangers we might have to go through. Right. So Narad's speech so far could seem to those who were listening around, who hearkened to his celestial voice, it could seem as if it was still full of joy, that everything would be fine. But Aswapati, he detected something in Narad's voice in the closing of his speech, especially that last line, if for all time doom could be left to sleep. So Aswapati detects some possibility of danger that Narad is hinting at. He marked the dubious close, the questionable end of Narad's words, and ominous shadow he felt behind the words. But Aswapati too is a great sage, but calm like one who ever sits facing fate, here mid the dangerous contours of earth's life. He answered covert thought with guarded speech. He also kind of didn't directly question Narad about that dubious close, that questionable end of his statement, but he also speaks in guarded speech, kind of holding back something. And he says, "O deathless sage, who knowest all things here, if I could read by the ray of my own wish through the carved shield of symbol images which thou hast thrown before thy heavenly mind, I might see the steps of a young godlike life, happily beginning, luminous-eyed on earth. So he suggests, I might see the young steps of a godlike life, this Savitri, happily beginning. And then the sentence shifts, and he refers back again to Narad. Between the unknowable and the unseen, born on the borders of two underworlds, it flames out symbols of the infinite and lives in a great light of inner suns. So here he's going back and speaking of Narad, who lives in this borderline between the unknowable and the unseen. Yeah, born and... So I think it's Narad's heavenly mind. It goes back a few lines earlier. So he's describing that mind of Narad that's living in this borderline between the unknowable and the unseen, between the highest and the subtle planes of existence. It lives in a great light of inner suns, for it has read and broken the wizard seals. It knows, it has read the future, the seals of the future, the closed, sealed future. It has seen through those seals. It has drunk of the immortal's wells of joy. It has looked across the jewel bars of heaven. It has entered the aspiring secrecy. It sees beyond terrestrial common things and communes with the powers that build the worlds. Till through the shining gates and mystic streets of the city of Lapis Lazuli. Oh, am I going? I'm going too far now. Okay, so I'll stop there. Okay, so let's read that section. So we go next. So, for it has read.
Okay. For it has read and broken the wizard seals. It has drunk of the immortal's wells of joy. It has looked across the jewel bars of heaven. It has entered the aspiring secrecy. It sees beyond terrestrial common things and communes with the powers that build the worlds, till through the shining gates and mystic streets of the city of lapis lazuli and pearl, proud deeds step forth, a rank and march of gods. Although in pauses of our human lives, earth keeps for man some short and perfect hours, when the inconstant thread of time can seem the eternal moment which the deathless live, yet rare that touch upon the mortal's world. Hardly a soul and body here are born in the fierce, difficult movement of the stars, whose life can keep the paradise on note, its rhythm repeat the many-toned melody, tirelessly throbbing through the rapturous air, caught in the song that sways the Apsara's limbs when she floats gleaming like a cloud of light, a wave of joy on heaven's moonstone floor.
Thank you. So Aswapati is continuing to describe Narad's great immortal mind. And he suggests that this mind has read and broken the wizard's seals. It has drunk of the immortal's wells of joy. It has looked across the jewel bars of heaven. It has entered the aspiring secrecy. Of course, Narad is on this borderline between the absolute sight of the divine and the earthly world. So he can look into the future, into the distance, into things that will come. It sees beyond terrestrial common things and communes with the powers that build the worlds. So not only does he see, but he communes with the powers that are creating, developing this world. Till through the shining gates and mystic streets of the city of lapis lazuli and pearl, proud deeds step forth, a rank and march of gods. So he sees into the beyond, into the heavens, from where deeds step forth, where action is created and originates for here in the world, passes through these shining gates and mystic streets of the subtle planes between earth and heaven, of the city of lapis lazuli and pearl. So this lapis lazuli is a blue stone, apparently from Afghanistan. Lapis is stone and lazuli is a blue color. But I think he's just using it as a kind of metaphor for these shining planes through which action from the heavens descends and takes form on earth. Proud deeds step forth, a rank and march of gods. And then he says, although in pauses of our human lives, earth keeps for man some short and perfect hours. Although here on earth we may sometimes experience these moments or these hours that are divine in their nature, when the inconstant tread of time can seem the eternal moment which the deathless live. So sometimes we may have moments that seem like eternity, in which time seems to stand still. These magical moments we have. In which the deathless live. The divine beings live in that magical time of the eternal moment. Yet rare that touch upon the mortal's world. Those hours, those moments are very rare here. Hardly a soul and body here are born in the fierce, difficult movement of the stars, whose life can keep the paradisal note. It's very difficult here on earth to keep this movement of the heavens, of this paradisal note, this atmosphere, its rhythm. Repeat the many-toned melody, tirelessly throbbing through the rapturous air. Caught in the song that sways the Apsara's limbs, when she floats, gleaming like a cloud of light, a wave of joy on heaven's moonstone floor. So these melodies, these divine deeds, actions that come, descend from above, take form in our world, as if they're caught in the song that sways the Apsara's limbs in her dance. So this is very rare for the human being to keep this sense of movement of the divine. So we'll continue. Tineke.
Behold this image cast by light and love, a stanza of the ardor of the gods, perfectly rhymed, a pillared ripple of gold. Her body like a brimmed pitcher of delight, shaped in a splendor of gold-colored bronze, as if to seize earth's truth of hidden bliss. Dream-might illuminate mirrors are her eyes, draped subtly in a sunless fringe of jet, retaining heaven's reflections in their depth. Even as her body, such is she within. Heaven's lustrous mornings gloriously recur, like drops of fire upon a silver page, in her young spirit yet untouched with tears. All beautiful things eternal seem anew to virgin wonder in her crystal soul. The unchanging blue reveals its spacious thought. Marvelous, the moon floats on through wandering skies. Earth's flowers spring up and laugh at time and death. The charmed mutations of the enchanter life race like bright children past the smiling hours.
Thank you. Now we see King Asapati's beautiful description of Savitri. Behold this image cast by light and love. And he compares her to a stanza of the ardor of the gods, perfectly rhymed, a pillared ripple of gold. And then her body, like a brimmed pitcher of delight, shaped in a splendor of gold-colored bronze, as if to seize earth's truth of hidden bliss. Her body is like a pitcher of delight, as if to seize earth's truth of hidden bliss, as if holding the hidden bliss of earth. And then her eyes, dream-made, illumined mirrors are her eyes, draped subtly in a slumberous fringe of jet, retaining heaven's reflections in their depths. And then, even as her body, such as she within, even as the beautiful form of her body, so inwardly Savitri is also so beautiful. Heaven's lustrous mornings gloriously recur like drops of fire upon a silver page. In her young spirit yet untouched with tears. So far, Savitri has been untouched with pain and suffering. All beautiful things eternal seem and new to virgin wonder in her crystal soul. Everything appears still so beautiful and pure in Savitri. The unchanging blue reveals its spacious thought. It's describing her mind, her thought, very spacious, open, marvelous. The moon floats on through wondering skies. Earth's flowers spring up and laugh at time and death. Up until now, she can laugh at time and death. These things aren't really touching her deeply as yet. The charmed mutations of the enchanter life race like bright children past the smiling hours. Her days go by smiling like bright children. Okay, we'll continue. Margaret?
If but this joy of life could last, nor pain throw its bronze note into her rhythmed days, behold her, singer with a prescient gaze, and let thy blessing chant that this fair child shall pour the nectar of a sorrowless life around her from a lucid heart of love. Heal with her bliss the tired breast of earth, and cast like a happy snare felicity, as grows the great and golden boundless tree, flowering the Alkananda's murmuring waves, where with enamored speeds the waters run, lisping and babbling to the splendor of morn, and cling with lyric laughter round the knees of heaven's daughters dripping magic rain, pearl bright from moon gold limbs and cloudy hair. So are her dawns like jeweled leaves of light, so casts she her felicity on men.
Thank you. So Aswapati says, as he's described her beauty and her joy and delight, he says, but if this joy of life could last, nor pain throw its bronze note into her rhythm days. So he's suggesting to Narad, let this delight, this joy continue, and not some pain be thrown into her life. And then he again describes her. Behold her, singer with the prescient gaze. Here he's describing Narad. And let thy blessing chant that this fair child shall pour the nectar of a sorrowless life around her from her lucid heart of love. Heal with her bliss the tired breast of earth, and cast like a happy snare felicity. So he's beseeching Narad, bless her with this joy. Let it continue. Let her pour this nectar, this delight that she carries within her of a sorrowless life around her from her lucid heart of love. May she just continue to pour this delight on all those around her. Heal with her bliss the tired breast of earth, and cast like a happy snare felicity. May she catch this happiness around her. As grows the great and golden bounteous tree, flowering by Alakananda's murmuring waves, where with enamored speed the waters run, lisping and babbling to the splendor of morn, and cling with lyric laughter round the knees of heaven's daughters, dripping magic rain, pearl bright from moon gold limbs and cloudy hair. So are her dawns like jeweled leaves of light. So casts she her felicity on men. He gives this beautiful image. So are her dawns like jeweled leaves of light. And like this, she casts her felicity on men. She casts this delight on those around her. Continue.
Which line?
A flame of radiant happiness. About 6, 7 lines down. 423, 7 lines down. A flame.
A flame of radiant happiness she was born, and surely will that flame set earth alight. Doom surely will see her pass and say no word, but to open her the careless mother lips, her children in the envious hands of fate. The harp of God falls mute, it call to bliss. Discourse fails meet earth unhappy sound. The strings of serene majesty cry not here, or soon are silence in the human heart. Of sorrow song we have enjoy, bid once. Her glad and griefless days bring even here, or must fire always test the gate of Sheol, along the dreadful causeway of the gods, arm our with love and faith and shared joy. A traveler to eternal house, once let unwounded pass a mortal life.
Thank you. So Aswapati again refers to Savitri like a flame of radiant happiness. She was born. And then he says, and surely will that flame set earth alight. That happiness will spread over the earth, setting it on fire. Doom surely will see her pass and say no word. So he's expressing his heart's wish that doom will pass her by. And then he says, but too often here on earth, the careless mother leaves her chosen in the envious hands of fate. Too often the chosen ones, chosen individuals, are left into the hands of fate that want also to take them, perhaps to make them suffer or to end their life. The harp of God falls mute, its call to bliss. Discouraged, fails mid earth's unhappy sounds. Sometimes these great beings do not live long. The hands of fate are envious to destroy them. The strings of the siren ecstasy cry not here on earth, or soon are silenced in the human heart. And then he says, of sorrow's songs we have enough. Bid once her glad and griefless days bring heaven here. He's calling on Narad, actually, to protect, to save Savitri from such an evil fate. And then he says, or must fire always test the great of soul. Along the dreadful causeway of the gods, armored with love and faith and sacred joy, a traveler to the Eternal's house, once let unwounded pass a mortal life. He's asking Narad, please just let this being, this great soul, pass by without facing the pain and sorrow of life. Shall I read again? One more.
But Narad answered not. Silent he said, knowing that words are vain and faith is Lord. He looked into the unseen with seeing eyes. Then, dallying with the mortal's ignorance, like one who knows not, questioning, he cried, "Oh, on what high mission went her hastening wheels? Whence came she with this glory in her heart, and paradise made visible in her eyes? What sudden God has met, what face supreme, to whom the king, the red Soka, watched her forth, which now sees her return, arisen into an air of flaming dawn, like a bright bird tired of her lonely branch, to find her own Lord, since to her on earth he came not yet, his sweetness wandered forth, cleaving her way with the beat of her rapid wings, led by a distant call, her vague swift flight, threatened the summer morns and sunlit lands, the happy rest her burdened lashes keep, and this charm's guardian lip hold treasured still. Virgin, who comes perfected by joy, reveal the name of thy sudden heartbeats learned. Whom hast thou chosen, kings among men?
Thank you. So King Aswapati was asking Narad, protect her, let her pass without fate intervening. But Narad answered not. Silent he sat, knowing that words are vain and fate is Lord. So he's suggesting that fate is more powerful than whatever words we might speak. Fate will determine what is to be. He can't change that fate. He looked into the unseen with seeing eyes. He looks into the future. He sees what is to come. And then dallying with the mortal's ignorance, like one who knows not, questioning, he cried. So he looks into the future, sees what is to come, but he doesn't reveal it. Instead, he asks a question, as if he didn't know. On what high mission went her hastening wheels? Why has Savitri gone off? Whence came she with this glory in her heart and paradise made visible in her eyes? What sudden God has met? What face supreme? So he's asking, where has Savitri gone? Who has she seen? Who has she met? She carrying back this atmosphere of delight and beauty in her form, in her face. And then the king replies, the red Ashoka watched her going forth, which now sees her return. Arisen into an air of flaming dawn, like a bright bird tired of her lonely branch, to find her own Lord, since to her on earth he came not. He came not yet. This sweetness wandered forth, cleaving her way with the beat of her rapid wings. So he's saying that she has gone forth into the flaming dawn like a bird, tired of her lonely branch, tired of being alone, to find her mate, her Lord, since to her on earth he came not yet. No mate had come to her at the palace. She could find no one who dared approach her and claim her as his own. So she went off. This sweetness wandered forth, cleaving her way with the beat of her rapid wings. Led by a distant call, her vague, swift light threaded the summer morns and sunlit lands. So she went off into the countryside, into the summer morns and sunlit lands. The happy rest her burdened lashes keep. So the rest of it, the story, we still have yet to hear. They're hid behind the lashes of her eyes. These charmed guardian lips hold treasured still. Virgin who comest perfected by joy, reveal the name thy sudden heartbeats learned. Whom hast thou chosen, kingliest among men? So now Asapati asks, who hast thou found in the wilderness? Who hast thou chosen? It's obvious she has seen some great being, some lover who she's chosen to be her mate. So there we stop for today. We'll see what Savitri says.
But Aswapati answered to the seer, as glows the great and golden bounteous tree, flowering by Alakananda's murmuring way, where with enamored speed the waters run, lisping and babbling to the splendor of morn, and cling with lyric laughter round the knees of heaven's daughters, dripping magic rain, pearl bright from moon gold limbs and cloudy hair. So are her dawns, like jeweled gleams of light. So casts she her felicity on men.
Thanks to Sri Aurobindo.